Welcome to another episode of the Urban Wall Street Project. I'm your host, Earl Christian III, of course, and today I have an amazing, dynamic treat for you, all my audience out there. I have an amazing singer, gifted vocalist, and she's also a candidate for a DMA. If you don't know what that is, that's a Doctorate in Musical Arts. But without further ado, I want to introduce the incredibly talented Monique Holmes. Monique, welcome to the Urban Wall Street Project.
Thank you, Earl.
You know, so I'm so happy because I know how the vocal skills are, and in a moment my audience is going to get to hear your vocal skills and your talent, and this is definitely a treat because the first time we had someone with an operatic voice or mezzo soprano. So before I even go into it, mezzo soprano, what is a mezzo soprano?
It's a voice classification. Normally you would associate your altos and choir with your mezzo sopranos. That's the best way to associate the two. But they're usually the step under the soprano, dealing with the range and the tessitura that they use while singing.
Okay. Now, this mezzo soprano and operatic performance, when did you discover this particular talent, your vocal skills that could take you to this level?
I began my training in high school, and I first had an interest in it when I was in junior high school, seeing the Duke Ellington Show Choir perform, and they were phenomenal, and that drove me to Duke Ellington, and it's been a wrap ever since.
Okay, so you sing opera now. What is it like to be an African-American woman singing opera? I mean, what does that feel like?
I just feel blessed to do whatever I can, be it in the field of song or be it in the field of education. It's just wonderful to be on stage with colleagues who are serious about their craft and who are interested in the same things that I am.
Okay, so now when you go to college, you went to school, did you study, of course, if you're going for a DMA, you studied it in school.
Yes.
So when you're an undergraduate, what is your particular major?
As an undergraduate, it was also vocal performance. My bachelor's is in performance and also music education.
Okay, so before you get to a DMA, you have to get an MA.
I got my Master's of Music, MM degree.
Okay, see?
Yeah.
And I'm all stuck on the academia, but
Yeah.
the musicians have a whole nother level of it. Okay, MM. So opera, now, you know you travel around the country and you've performed. What have been some of the highlights of being a mezzo soprano?
Well, I would say definitely the travel is a lot of fun, but I've really enjoyed doing the university productions at the University of Michigan as well as at the University of Northern Iowa. And I was also blessed to do a production of Le Nozze di Figaro in Crested Butte, Colorado this summer. So that was also wonderful.
Now, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because I'll kill the enunciation, but tell us a little bit about that production and what that experience was like.
Well, it was a 4-week program in Crested Butte, Colorado. And we did, I believe, 3 shows, and we had a limited time to get it together, so it really forced us to focus in to get the job done. But we had a wonderful audience. They were very receptive, and I actually just wrapped the same production at the University of Michigan. So I got an opportunity to do it this summer prior to the show that we just finished.
Okay. Now, have you performed for a variety of different types of audiences, young or old, black, white, whatever the case may be? Have there ever been any young women that come to you, just kind of inspired by your voice and interested in becoming a mezzo-soprano or a vocalist of this particular nature?
Well, you always have people who have an interest in the arts, period. And I would say that it's my participation really when I go back to Washington, D.C. and I participate with the Duke Ellington Show Choir. They're always very interested because that is what they do. And they're going to that high school because they have a desire to sing, to dance, to write poetry, or whatever may have you. So I would say that they're the most impressionable because they're already in there honing their craft. And if I can, I would like to drop any words of wisdom or give any help that I can to them.
So someone that decide they want to become a vocalist, they'll see the show, they see your performance, and they say, I want to get into that particular field. I want to become a soprano singer or operatic singer. Can you be trained to have this type of voice, or does it have to be just a gift from the creator, or is it a combination of the two?
I would say that it's a combination of the two because you can have extreme talent, but without discipline, without a certain amount of training and appreciation for the craft, that talent may just go to the wayside. So I would say that yes, talent is very important, and your teachers will begin to shape and mold that natural talent that you have. But I would say, you have to have both. It's a balance, really. And I would say for myself personally, I've had quite a journey. Some of it's been, you know, you have ups and you have downs, but I'm still working on my craft. I will never be complete working on my craft because I have not yet reached perfection.
Right. And since perfection does not exist, more so excellence, is this a craft that you will continually be working almost like a practice? It's probably a law is a practice, being a doctor is a practice, so being a mezzo soprano is a practice, because I would assume that is there always another level you can reach? I mean, it's not like you can always change notes, but there's certain levels you can reach, and once you accomplish this particular goal, there are next level on a vocal scale that you can reach?
Absolutely. Vocal training, growing higher and higher in the different types of music that I will study, also in character development. It's not simply about standing up and singing for someone, but oftentimes we are portraying characters and we are telling stories. And so we have to always be engaged, not only vocally, but also dramatically, so that when the audience sees us, that they have an understanding of what we are trying to portray to them.
So what's some of the responses you've gotten back when you go to performance? I know you do auditions, you know, now going to audition in different cities. I know you're coming in and out of New York. Where do you have majority of your auditions?
New York. And of course, it's a very busy city, it's a very popular city, and it's also very convenient. So the majority of my auditions are in New York.
So tell me, what would an audition in New York entail? So, you know, you get a call, or you have an agent, or how does one go about it? Not me, you know, I'm a different vibe, but you know, I'm about to, you know, really make this thing happen. How do you go about?
Well, it really depends where you are. I am a candidate getting ready to graduate, and so for me it's a matter of looking up applications, looking for programs, looking for apprenticeship programs as well as summer programs, and you fill out those applications. You also send those application fees, which are nothing to be played with. And then if you are granted an audition, then of course you buy a ticket, but different programs require different things. They may want your headshot, your resume, they may want a CD of some of your music. It all depends on the program, but you have to put yourself out there and then see if you get a call back.
And what might a price range or one of these fees, like what's in the average, you know, it could be as low as or as high as?
It could be as low as maybe $15, $20. It can be as high as $70 or $150.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, with these performances, when you're coming to New York, what type of performances or opportunities are you auditioning for?
Apprentice programs for the fall, and also summer programs for this summer.
And these programs will enable you to do?
It enables me to hone my craft. Definitely you want to remain active, and being in school so long, you get these summer breaks, and then you're like, well, what am I going to do with my summer? And I would like to continue in my study, and so the summer program is a wonderful way for you to continue to study, continue to grow, continue to network. It's a wonderful way to meet people. You have different coaches, different teachers, and also then you have the people that you're working with. It's a wonderful way to network.
Okay, so you have an excuse me, you stand corrected if I learned something new today. I'm always learning as well. And you have a DMA, which is a Doctorate in Musical Arts.
Yes.
What makes you go to the DMA as opposed to staying at MM? Is there a difference in the opportunity? Is there a difference in revenue that can be generated or earned?
It really depends on the person. I'll be receiving my DMA come the May of 2010. And so if a person has their master's degree and they feel that they are at a point where they're ready to just go out there and begin to perform, then perhaps they don't feel the need to get the DMA. Maybe their focus is not in education. I always find myself, no matter what I'm doing, I always wind up teaching in some capacity. I enjoy performing. I love to do it. I love everything about it, the costumes, the hair, and the orchestra. It's all a thrilling experience. And I also love to educate, and not just as it relates to voice, but I also enjoy doing a bit of dance as well.
Well, we're going to talk about some of these times that you've enjoyed, some of the experiences when we come back. My people, if you've ever heard an angel sing, then you've heard Miss Monique Holmes. But if you haven't heard an angel sing, I want you to relax and sit back, because you're in for an amazing treat. Here's a song entitled,
I Want Jesus to Walk With Me.
I Want Jesus to Walk With Me. Enjoy it.
I want Jesus to walk Through my trials, Lord, walk with me. Lord, through my trials, please walk with me. When my heart is almost breaking, Lord, I want Jesus to walk with me. When I'm in trouble, please walk with me. When I'm in trouble, Lord, walk with me. When my head is bowed in sorrow, please, Jesus, Lord, walk with me.
Did you enjoy that as much as I did? That was amazing. Now, I want to know the inspiration behind this song. Is it an original song?
Now, I Want Jesus to Walk With Me is a spiritual. So whenever we hear spirituals, there are always arrangements. If you go back to times of slavery and things like that, they're not composed pieces of music, but songs that were developed, being it in the field as people were traveling, and then passed along from generation to generation.
So I know before, with the song, we were talking about the different experiences and you're traveling. And I'm sure, you've been in your craft now for how many years?
Oh, wow. More than 10 as far as studying.
More than 10 as far as studying. And I'm sure there's been some amazing highs. And, and with everything, we probably have had some lows. But I like to focus on the positives first. So, I'm sure you've traveled and seen a lot of different places, international as well as that. So tell me about the international experience and what territories you visited and what the reception was like there.
Wow, well, my first experience outside of the U.S. was in high school, traveling, again, with the Duke Ellington Show Choir, and I mentioned them so much because a lot of my inspiration came from that, came from singing and dancing and acting simultaneously, really putting on a show for people. So I really enjoyed traveling to Barbados. We traveled to Germany, Trinidad, Tobago, the Cayman Islands, and that was always a wonderful experience, especially being a young student, seeing these new places and meeting these new people. So that was always wonderful.
Okay, so back in the States, one of your most memorable moments?
I would have to say that I truly enjoyed playing the role of Florence Pike in the production of Albert Herring by Benjamin Britten. We did a production of that a year ago, I believe, and the character is just so much fun. It's an opera that's in English, and she's just kind of semi-bossy, but she's also under the thumb of her superior, and she has a little feistiness next to her, so I enjoyed playing that role, as well as the role of Olga in Eugene Onegin by Tchaikovsky. She was much younger, much more free-spirited, and it was nice not to be the mom or the maid, but to be this younger person full of life and full of energy, and that's what Olga represents.
That's beautiful. Never met a black girl named Olga, but it's all right. We do our thing. All right. So now we talk about, you know, maybe a situation that, or event, or an opportunity that wasn't as positive, because I think even a negative, if you learn something from it, it's a positive. So maybe a particular moment that you could have done without, however, that experience made you stronger.
Wow. Well, it's hard for me to answer that question, only because I wouldn't say that I could do without any of my experiences, even if they weren't always the best, because as you said, you learn and you grow from those experiences. I remember doing a summer program, and after that program, I experienced a lot of vocal difficulties, a lot from which I am still recovering. And so there's this continuous process to be better, to do better, to be fully healed, so to speak. But I thoroughly enjoyed my time there, but perhaps some of the instruction that I received, or perhaps the way that I interpreted that instruction, led to a bit of vocal difficulty that prevented me from singing for a while.
Now, when you say vocal difficulty, was it that, you know, you experienced a physical ailment, like your voice maybe was lost? Like, how does that occur?
I had a hemorrhage on my vocal cords, and so for a period of time I wasn't able to do any singing. When you think about the simple things, to hum a tune, things like that, I wasn't able to do, and I was specifically instructed not to do because my voice needed the time to heal. So it really makes you appreciate those simple little things. Your favorite song that you may sing in the shower, or you may hum your favorite tune as you're walking down the street. For a while, I really had to stop singing, period, because the voice needed time to heal.
You know, and I guess I can understand that. When I was in college, I was a theater arts minor, communications major, a theater arts minor, and one course that I had that I really enjoy and I remember to this day was voice and diction. And I wasn't a voice program, but I think under the curriculum, it was just certain courses you had to take in your minor. And, you know, I learned something about, you know, vocal cords, because, you know, a lot of times when we get hoarse, we think, drink some hot tea, or drink something warm. And for some reason, we're under the assumption that it's the liquid itself, the hot beverage, that's actually gonna, you know, minimize the soreness or whatever the case may be. But what I learned was, and you don't even think about it, is that the only thing that actually touches your vocal cords is air. Because if you had liquids touch your vocal cords, it would actually be going into your lungs, which is not something it should be. So one exercise or practice, if you will, a teacher told us to try and see how it worked, was to run, you know, hot water in your sink. Just run it hot till it's steaming, right? Or boil it if you was in a home. And then take a towel and lean over the sink with the steam coming up, because it's gonna be hot, and then just put the towel like a canopy, and just inhale the vapor, and then the steam would actually go in, and then the warmth would go onto, the steam would go into your body, and then in there, I guess it would maybe turn into the moisture that could then soothe your vocal cords, because they said your vocal cords are like rubber bands. So when your vocal cords are nice and tight, it's like a brand new rubber band. But the more you sing, or if you strain them, it's like a rubber band that's you stretched out. And the only way to get it back is to kind of let that, you know, that elasticity come back to a certain position. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I steam often.
Okay.
If I'm not feeling well, now granted, hot tea, the same thing. I use a product called Throat Coat, or people may use licorice root tea. Just certain things. The licorice root is actually said to minimize swelling in the vocal cords. So there are so many different things that we can do, but as far as the steam, as soon as you began to even describe that, I knew exactly where you were going with that, because it's very refreshing just to kind of calm down any swelling or calm down any irritation that you may be experiencing.
Right. Now, that's not to dissuade anyone from, you know, taking your general remedies,
Absolutely.
hot tea, because and actually those things do help. Because
Yes,
somebody
it's
might be saying,
calming.
well, wait a minute, but I drink tea and it makes my throat feel better.
Absolutely.
And what is actually happening is it's the heat. It's all about the heat. That is the key to it. So the heat from the tea, it kind of penetrates the walls, the membranes of the tissues in your throat. So whereas steam actually touches the membranes or the vocal cords, the steam permeates through the tissue and in a degree gives it the same effect. But definitely that steaming, I tried it, and it's for calming.
Very soothing.
Very soothing. That's a beautiful thing. Now, I'm pretty confident in, as an artist, I mean, I'm an artist too in my own right, and, it's not always the most conventional road travel when it comes to, maybe financing or economics. We go to college, generally get a job, accounting, medicine, something that's going to, generate and provide or yield a check relatively quickly.
Yes.
But when you're in a craft and you're in an art, you have to do it for the passion, for the love. And if you love it, then I'm always confident that the revenue or the rewards will follow.
Yes.
But with that comes a certain degree and level of support needed. So let's talk about the support and the foundation you had on your road to becoming receiving your DMA.
Well, it's been, I would say, just an extreme blessing. I have familial support. I have support from my friends, and it's a beautiful thing because even traveling here to New York, being here, it's not a matter of, oh, where in the world am I going to stay, or oh, I have to get a hotel. No, I have family who loves me enough to say, you know what, you're in New York, we live in New York, so you'll stay with us. And so that's where I am. So that's a blessing. And when I go home, if my parents and my guardians, if they can come up to see me, then they will. So I always have support from Buffalo, New York, support from Washington, D.C., those who can't be with me, who desire to be with me, just sending kind words to say, I wish you well, break a leg, is always very, very encouraging. So knowing that people are rooting for you, even when you don't feel so good about what you're doing, because you're your worst critic, really you are.
Right.
But it's so helpful to know that people are praying for you. I firmly believe that prayer, it just changes things, and it's just a wonderful blessing to have my family and my friends in my life.
That's a beautiful thing. Family and the foundation is strong because it's really tough to do without it. And I know, people say, and you can do anything you want to do, and you can become whatever you want to be. And that is true. But I don't think people really take into account how important it is that you have someone that's there.
Absolutely.
And, not to say that you can't do it if there's no one there, but knowing that there's someone there that will be able to pick you up, hold you up on those moments when we all feel like we can't go on any further and we need Jesus to walk with us.
Absolutely.
It is definitely it's a beautiful thing to have. Now, I wanted to address, before we end, someone's really interested in becoming a mezzo soprano or a vocalist, and they see this and they're inspired and they realize this is something I want to do. I want you to give my audience 3 sound pieces of advice that they can really take and walk with if they really want to hone their craft and how they need to, and what they need to be prepared for if this is what they feel their life is, their life calling is.
Well, I would say find a voice teacher. Find someone that you are comfortable with, someone that you trust to help you grow. I would also say that it's important to find a vocal coach because they are 2 very different things. Someone who will play your music for you, who will give you advice, who will be there to help you with your languages, to make sure that they're very crisp, that it's very clear, to make sure that you have an understanding of what you're singing, and to make sure that you really want to do this. And with that comes tough, thick skin. It's one thing to want to sing. It's another thing to say, I would like to sing for you, and will you accept me? There are hundreds, thousands of people that audition, and you may not get it because you're too short, or you may not get it because they think that you're too heavy. You may have a gorgeous instrument, but there are so many things that will knock you off from receiving a position over someone else. So I would say hone your craft, make yourself the best singer that you can do, the best singer that you can be, and then also take care of your body.
Now, and taking care of your body, real quickly, are there some regimens and routines that you go through?
Yes, I would just say it depends on the person. Whatever your healthy state is, healthy does not mean skinny. I've never believed that, especially with my own bone structure. But just making sure that you are treating yourself well. And as far as singing is concerned, to make sure that you're giving appropriate time to your music, making sure that you're giving appropriate time to your technique, because that is what they're looking for. They're looking for consistency. They're looking for the person who can bring the drama. They're looking for someone who is going to essentially sell tickets. So, it's all about crafting your instrument.
Excellent, excellent. I'm so happy to have you here today. It was a beautiful
Thank you.
song, and you know I love you to death.
I know.
My people
I
at
love you
home watching, you've been treated today. You know, I've been treated today. My crew has been treated today. We've been blessed to hear a beautiful voice from an angel who understood early what her calling was and decided this is where I'm going to be, where my passion is. As we say, there's nothing that you can't accomplish in your life, but it takes hard work, it takes determination, it takes perseverance, and it takes extreme discipline. If you can accomplish these things and you can stay on your path, then you will have what you want. You will satisfy your dreams, and you too will, soar to great heights. I want you to always remember that Urban Wall Street here is for you. I want you to check out the Urban Wall Street Project in New York City, online, urbanwallstreet.tv. As I always say, be mindful, be prosperous, stay positive. And until the next time, peace.
Je fais mes formes well, I said to myself, goddamn, pas de meilleure belle, les gars m'envie d'amour, like my name is Patty LaBelle, hein? Ooh, les costumés, ben souliers en pied, côté mounio, c'est la nouille, from ma troisième, non, mais pas notre métier, but me très étiqué, so mon sous-côté, I think I'm in love, I'm not giving up, ziet tombé sous ziet, marcher sous me souffler, comment t'y appelle, je m'appelle Santa, les money boom de scène, côté coupé, cloué, les, just la show, les gars, ben pour nous plugger, Je me sais good to me. Mon amour, tout qui me c'est pour voir. Whatever you say, c'est who can't pouvoir. Feel like a butterfly, your love makes me fly high to the sky. Me control your mind. It's only been a year, but it's a good that toujours here. Problème sous problème, I'm happy you're here. I don't know, but baby, I'ma love you. Ancien ménage, je t'ai toujours fait passer misère. Toujours